Hello everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. Today I'm going to be answering quite a few questions that I've gotten over the last few months on both Instagram and YouTube around my Memphis Shades Cafe fairing. So this video is going to be breaking it down into if this is the right fairing for you. Memphis Shades does have quite a few options available. And I'll be talking about the pros and cons for mine. So before I jump into that, please do feel free to subscribe, like, share this video if you think it's just going to help somebody. So I have the Café styled fairing. And I do have this with the trigger lock system, which is come in handy quite a few times when I'm doing maintenance on the bike. It makes getting the fairing on and off the bike very simple and straightforward. And it's pretty easy to install. So I haven't done any recordings of the video because I actually installed the fairing before I started the channel. So I didn't record it, but it is very, very simple to install. So very easy to do. And I did also have to get the turn signal relocation kit as well, which is also very easy to install. So getting the fairing and everything else along with it, it's pretty straightforward. Just give yourself an hour to read through everything, familiarize yourself with everything, and you should be able to install everything very quickly and easily. It takes minimal experience. You basically just gotta know how to work a wrench and a screwdriver with some bolts. So ease of installation, very, very, very easy to do. Now, one of the most common questions I get is, how does it do in terms of blocking wind? So for me, I am 6'3". So quite a long torso and body. And for me, this fairing does not do a great job of blocking the wind. Now, I don't do a ton of highway miles, so blocking the wind isn't that big of a factor for me. So if you're looking for something that is gonna really block the wind and make those highway miles much more comfortable, I would not recommend the Café fairing. But for me, honestly, I kind of bought it with a mix of style and function in mind. So it does block some wind, but it really only blocks it from the lower body. It doesn't really block anything for my torso or my head. So when I'm going at highway speeds, I definitely feel the buffeting on my torso and my head, but wind doesn't really bother me that much, so it's not really a crucial factor for me. But since we're on a straightaway, so if you can see my hand, so down here I don't really feel any wind, but as soon as I get to about here, that's when I really start to feel the wind resistance. So if I'm sitting up straight, again, going down, don't really feel much, and then I get to about here, this is where I really start to feel it. So obviously everything here up is what I feel. So that is one of the things I was a little bit curious about, is trying the Road Warrior one, which has the really long fairing, and I think that one is really much more meant for wind resistance as well as obviously style and function. But I got this one just because I thought it looked cooler. I thought it'd go style with the bike. And with the type of riding I do, where it's much more like this, where it's more windy and much more rides where I can really enjoy myself, I kind of like the wind actually. Overall, I have been very happy with this fairing. Gotten a lot of compliments on it, a lot of questions on it, which means people are very interested in it. So I recommend it. I like it. There's a number of different styles out there. The other one I almost considered buying was the Gauntlet one, and I was a little worried that one would look a little too bulky, but I don't think that's a real concern. After having some experience with the Café fairing, I think the Gauntlet would have been perfectly fine. And from what I've read, that one does offer a little bit more wind resistance compared to the Café fairing, because the Gauntlet, it's a little bit more instead of it being so curved like the Café fairing is, the Gauntlet one is a little bit flatter, so it actually pushes, has a little bit more, it pushes the wind in more of a direction versus the Café where kind of the wind goes around it. Don't know if that made any sense at all, but from what I've read, it seems like the Gauntlet fairing does a better job in wind resistance than the Café fairing does, but it still won't block it from your head, from what I understand. So I've actually gotten some questions around how I styled the fairing, and I just wrapped it like the rest of the bike. So similar process where I would just put down cutting tape and then put down the wrap and then peel off the tape. So very simple. The fairing is probably the easiest thing to wrap on the bike. So that's all I did there, and it's held up really well. And the Memphis shades fairings are all paintable, so you can actually paint on them so that way you can customize them to match the rest of your bike. So that's a big plus. And I actually have taped to the inside of the fairing a couple extra USB outlets, so if I need to charge my phone or if I need to charge any other devices, I can just plug in there on top of what I already have plugged into the bike directly. But that's usually dedicated for the GoPro. So I've put close to 10,000 miles on this fairing, and it's had absolutely no problems at all, from all the bugs, the dirt, the rocks, everything that you would typically face while riding. There hasn't been any scratches or dings or anything at all that would make me question the durability of the fairing. So it's held up remarkably well over nearly 10,000 miles. So if you're worried about durability, I wouldn't worry about it. So overall, if you're looking for a fairing that will, fit your Harley or your Scout or, whatever other bike you have that fits with the Memphis shades, I highly recommend them. I've been very happy with it, and I'm actually really curious to try out the Road Warrior, just to see if I do end up liking that a little bit more and it looks better with the bike with these new handlebars. If anybody out there has a spare Road Warrior they want to ship to me, reach out to me because I would be very interested. So, all in all, it is a bit pricey for all the things you get. So if you do go down the route that I did, where you have to get the turn signal relocator and the trigger lock system, and as well as the fairing itself, it does get to be a little bit pricey. But however, that being said, everything has been flawless. I have not had a single issue at all with any of the components. So in my mind, money well spent, no regrets at all. And I think it does look really great on the bike, and it does perform a little bit of wind resistance, but then again, I didn't buy this for the wind resistance, so I'm happy with it. So if you have any other comments or questions, leave them down below. I'd be more than happy to answer them. Different people have different needs and different requirements and different perspectives, so try to include some of the most common things that I get asked about. If you're wondering about how it looks on the bike, I encourage you to check out my Instagram. That's where I have a ton of pictures of the Scout. And you can definitely see how it all looks there over the evolution of the bike as well. So you can see it with the mini apes, the 10-inch mini apes from Indian. You can see it with the new handlebars. You can kind of track it along with all the other changes I've made over time. So you can see a couple different styles of how the Café fairing meshes with different setups. But otherwise, that's going to be about it, everybody. Pretty quick video today, quick and easy. As always, be brave, do good, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody.